First of all, I'll briefly introduce about myself. I am Nandana GP. I am coming from Kollam district of Kerala. Uh, I have secured rank 47 this year, and this was my second attempt. Uh, about my background, I studied my schooling in Kollam itself. Till 12th standard, I studied in the Kollam district itself. Then after that, I did my graduation from Marvanius College, Thiruvananthapuram. It is one of the premium institutions in Kerala. I graduated in English Language and Literature from Marvanius College in 2022. And after my graduation in 2022, I started preparing for UPSC. After giving a preparation of 1 year, I gave my first attempt in 2023, and in that attempt, I was not able to clear the prelim stage. I had good marks in GS. Like that year, the GS cutoff was 75, and my marks was 91. So I had some 16 marks above the cutoff in my first attempt itself in GS, but I scored only 65 marks in CSAT, and that's why I failed in CSAT in my first attempt. So after my first attempt, I decided that if I have to clear this exam again, I have to focus a lot on mains aspect. So I decided to focus on mains more after my prelims failure. For around 6 months, I prepared for mains alone, and after that, I did integrated preparation for prelims as well as mains. And after that, in 2024, I gave my second attempt. And in my second attempt, I was able to clear this exam. And also, my optional subject in case of UPSC was Malayalam literature. And about my marks, in second attempt also, I have scored good in case of prelims. I scored 95 marks. Cutoff was 87 this year, I guess. And I significantly improved my CSAT marks also. In From 65 marks in 2023 to 90 around 91 marks in 2024. I improved my CSAT marks also. Regarding my mains, I cleared this exam because of the good marks I scored in my GS optional as well as interview. I don't have good marks in essay. I scored just 87 marks in essay, but I have a 442 marks total in GS, around 102 marks in GS1, 122 in GS2, 90 in GS3, and 128 marks in GS4. In case of optional subject also, I have scored well, like 278 marks in case of Malayalam literature. In case of interview, I have 193 from Shilvardhan Sir's board. So combining all these marks, I was able to get rank 47. And about my preparation, I prepared from not my hometown but my adjoining district, the Thiruvananthapuram, which is the capital city of Kerala. Thiruvananthapuram is called as the UPSC hub of Kerala. There are significant institutes as well as like coaching institution facilities, etc., available in Thiruvananthapuram. So that is like Thiruvananthapuram is just 60 kilometers, 60 to 65 kilometers away from my home. So I prepared from here itself. I have never been to Delhi till my interview preparation started. I have been to Delhi only twice. Once in February for my mock interviews, and second in April for my actual interview. So I am a person who have prepared from the comfort zone of my state itself, not in the higher coaching hubs like ORN or Mukherjee Nagar or something. I'll talk briefly about my strategy in case of all the three stages of examination. In case of prelims, in both my attempts, prelims was not at all an issue for me, especially the GS. My strategy in case of prelims was to have a good base of standard material like the Lakshmikant or the Spectrum. I used to revise those again and again. So the first step for clearing or having good marks in prelims is to have your base cleared, and repetitive revision of NCRTs as well as standard books help you in case of that. And my second strategy, I believe, is uh, that has helped me a lot is developing that MCQ solving skills. I had two-pronged approach for developing the MCQ solving skills. One was to do as many tests as possible. I am a person who do so many tests. In my second attempt, when I started my prelims preparation in November, my weekly approach was Monday to Thursday. For example, let's say I have a history test this week, or a geography test, or whatever subject test this week. My strategy was I'll be studying the subject from Monday to Thursday. I'll be devoting some 4 to 5 hours every day to study the standard material that is required for that particular subject. Let's say if it is polity, I'll be studying the NCRTs as well as the Lakshmian portions that is there for the test this week. So Monday to Thursday was dedicated for the preparation of standard material, and on Friday, Saturday, as well as Sunday, I will be dedicating those days for test. Uh, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will be doing one test every day. That means I will be doing three tests every day. Sorry, not every day, every week. So overall, in a week, I'll be preparing standard text for 4 days, and I'll be doing a test in 3 days. So that was my 1 week look like till the January end. From February, March, as well as April, as well as May, my strategy was to balance the standard text as well as the uh, uh, test preparation. So I'll be doing a half test every day, and rest of the time I'll be dedicating for the revision of standard text, etc. Last year I have done around 110 plus tests, including the previous year question papers. In my first attempt also, I have done around 90 tests in my first attempt itself. And another thing that people often forget in case of prelims preparation is the importance of previous year question papers. I am a person who believes that previous year question papers are the key to crack the prelims examination. In my both attempts, I have done PYQs very well. Like my approach in case of previous year questions is I'll be solving the previous year question papers like I do the actual prelims examination. I'll be taking 2 hours to solve that question paper from 9:30 to 11:30, and after that, I'll be looking through each and every statement, every sentence that is provided in the previous year question papers. So let's say if the question is about a organization like an international organization, I will not just look at the answer. I will be looking at all the four options. I'll be making notes of these previous year question papers. Not only the answer itself, I'll make notes of the options also. So I had a holistic preparation subject wise. Previous year question paper notes were made for each and every subject, and that's how I prepared for prelims. So overall, I believe my prelim strategy is to revise standard material as many times as possible, as well as do as many questions as possible, both test as well as previous year question papers, and not a superficial learning of previous year question papers. I used to do it again and again. I used to research on the options given by UPSC, etc., and understand the language that is used by UPSC also. That can also be done using the previous year question papers. In case of CSAT strategy, I believe that the mistake I did in my first attempt in 2023 in case of CSAT was that I was preparing for CSAT. I used to attend classes for CSAT. I used to do tests provided by coaching institute in case of CSAT. I used to do everything everything other than what is required for the CSAT exam. I ignored the previous year question papers of CSAT paper in my first attempt. So I didn't have an idea about what UPSC wants in case of CSAT. So that's how I failed in CSAT in my first attempt. And also anxiety was another reason. I became panic in midst of the examination, and that has also affected a lot in case of CSAT. In my second attempt, I decided that I will be focusing a lot on previous year question papers in case of CSAT more than the coaching institute wala like material and all. So again, for both maths as well as comprehension, I focused a lot on previous year question papers. I am a person whose maths is weak but comprehension is strong as a literature graduate. So in case of maths, I focused on previous year question papers only. I tried to study portions that are very important for CSAT, especially the topics like number system. And in case of comprehension, I believe that the aspirants believe that the comprehension part of CSAT paper is very uncertain. But from my research and the analysis of CSAT papers, I have understood that it's not that uncertain. We feel it uncertain because there is a specific keyword that is given by UPSC in case of every comprehension question. Like there can be something like assumption, inference, such kind of keywords are used by UPSC in case of comprehension. So what I did was I took all these keywords. I believe some 10 to 12 keywords are there. So I took all these keywords and I made notes of all these keywords through various YouTube videos available. I tried to make notes of all these keywords and understood that what is exactly meant by these keywords rather than interpreting it by my own. And after that, I classified all the previous year question papers of CSAT based on the keywords that is there. For example, I arranged all the assumption question under one heading, all the inference question under another heading, etc. So then I first after reading the meaning of the keyword, then I solved these previous year question papers keyword wise, and I understood what UPSC actually means by these keywords. Like the assumption of UPSC is different from inference of UPSC. So through such an approach, I was able to solve. Like in 2024, the comprehension was not very easy, but I was able to correct almost 24 or 25 questions in comprehension by this approach. So this was my CSAT approach, and also being calm in case of prelims helped me a lot. Like you have to be confident in all the three stages of this examination. So that calmness of mind has also helped me. And about my main strategy, after my prelims failure in my first attempt, I started preparing seriously for mains. My optional is an optional that doesn't score very well. Malayalam literature is an optional that it is very hard to score above 250. It's not like other science of optionals, or even something above 260 is very rare in case of optional. So I believe that if at all I want to clear the UPSC exam, I have to score very well in GS. So I knew that fact, and that's why I prepared very well for the GS. My approach in case of GS was to make notes of all the GS topics. So how I used to do that was I used to take the previous year question papers as well as syllabus of each subject. Then I used to identify topics that are very important for UPSC from both keywords given in syllabus as well as the previous year question papers. Then I'll be Googling that particular topic. I haven't used much of standard sources for making not for mains. I used to Google, like for example, if I am making notes about child labor, I'll be Googling child labor UPSC. Then there will be some material published by some UPSC website. So I'll go through that and I'll pick some two-page content that is required for UPSC. So that's how I made notes in case of GS 1, 2 as well as 3. I used to search for examples, case studies, data, all these things so that I can enrich my answers. That was my GS approach. And also, I used to write a lot of answers. I used to write some two, three questions per day, and I used to evaluate it myself. I used to take question from the toppers copies. Then I'll write it by myself. Then I'll be comparing my answer with the answer written by the topper. So that's how I improved my answer writing. That was about my GS strategy. And about my GS4, like the ethics strategy, I scored 128 marks in case of ethics. That was instrumental in my selection. So how I approached the GS4 is that I used to like initially I was a bit skeptical about the ethics because uh, I was not ethics ready at the time I have cleared the prelims. So how I did was I focused a lot on answer writing in case of ethics. I have prepared basic content from the material I had. I have read both. I have read Coaching Institute material for the ethics, both Fortune IAS material as well as the Vajaram material. After I made my base material strong, I focused a lot on answer writing in case of ethics, and also value addition was another thing by collecting examples, case studies, etc. If you download my answer sheet and look at my answer sheet, you will find that I am a person who writes examples for every point I make. If there are some 10 points in my answer sheet, there will be 10 examples that I have put in for that. So my strategy was to value add every or substantiate every answer with examples. That has worked or that has helped me score 442 marks in case of GS. And in case of optional strategy, I don't have much strategy to share. It was mostly studying the material provided by the coaching institute. I studied at Jalagam Institute by Sarada ma'am. So mostly it was like studying the material provided there, answer and as well as answer writing with value addition, like the quotes, etc. That helped me score the 278 marks here. In case of my essay strategy, I do not advise anyone to follow my essay strategy because I have scored only 87 marks. But my essay strategy was to prepare a lot of content as well as answer writing or essay writing per se. First of all, I prepared a note of around 10 topics, some 10 frequently asked topics taken from previous year question papers, and I made some 8 to 10 page note for every essay topic like women, democracy, etc. And after that, I went through the previous year question papers. Then I brainstormed the last 3 year previous year question papers, like around 8 into 3, that is 24 topics. And I made some 1 to 2 page note for the previous year question papers topic also. And after that, I used to collect the anecdotes, data, or such things that can be written in essay in a digital note. I had some 100-page note for anecdotes also. After all these preparation of these content, I used to write one essay every week. I used to take toppers essays, then toppers essays, then I'll be comparing my essay with the essay written by topper, and I used to improve. So that was my essay strategy. Then coming about interview, I think we can talk a bit about that. In case of my interview was on April 11. It was Shilvardhan Singh IPS who was my board chairman. But the questions asked by chairman was mostly about my background. I come from English literature background. The Shilvardhan sir also have a English literature background, so it was mostly English literature that happened to be my interview topic. And also there were questions about Kerala, the Kerala model of development, Kerala industries, etc. There were general questions about the current affairs happening at that point of time. Like at that time, the Tahawur Rana was brought back to India. There were talks about terrorism and all. The governor judgment was there. So it was mostly about terrorism and such things was also asked. Then it was mostly the questions was mostly about the English literature only, and I have put the reading of mythological literature like the Indian mythological novels as my hobby. So the chairman asked about that also, like the freedom of expression versus the mythological novels. Such kind of things were also asked. The board was very cordial, and my interview was a very cordial experience, and I scored 193 marks also. And in interview, I believe uh, the strategy should be to appear as a genuine person, and and answer all these questions confidently, and also if possible try to show your value system to the board members. That will also help you in securing good marks. That was my interview strategy. So these are the things I want to talk in general. uh, After this I believe we can take some questions. If there is some question, your answer writing strategy, I have already mentioned. I used to use topos copy for answer writing.